Hey Ghostbusters fans, how you guys doing? This is my RTV build. Um, I have it controlled off my Radio Master TX16S. The door is open with a flick of a switch. It's got the stock sound system. Actually, let's flip that off. The smoke machine is also triggered by a momentary switch. Yeah, and then I got full control. It's pretty quick. I'm running it off of a 2-cell LiPo. I think the stock ESC and motor are rated for 3-cell LiPos. I wouldn't recommend using that power system. I did with the larger wheels. They're significantly larger, so you run the risk of burning out the motor or stripping the spur gear. All right, guys, let's break this down. The platform I'm using is an Arma Granite Voltage Mega. It's a 2-wheel drive midship mounted motor, brush motor. Those are actually two of the primary reasons I chose this platform. The 2-wheel drive, I didn't have to worry about a drive shaft that I have to shorten and get the front wheels working. And the midship mounted motor, a lot of the Traxxas 2-wheel drive cars have the motor mounted on the back, which doesn't really suit our purposes for this build. Some of the issues I had with this platform, however, is the stock electronics that come with it. The servo is a 5-wire servo, so I couldn't use it with any of my regular receivers. Most servos are 3 wires, and the receiver and ESC are an all-in-one combo, so I couldn't use the ESC again with any of my receivers. So basically I just yanked this out. I'll probably use it on another build. The brushed motor is perfectly fine, so I picked up a Hobby Wing ESC and just a metal geared servo on Amazon. It seems to be working so far. I was a little worried that it would be too weak to handle turning such large wheels, but with the 2S LiPo, we're not going at like crazy speeds. We're not crawling with it. You don't need a ton of torque, so we'll see how long it lasts. If it is, I'll sprint for a little bit more expensive servo. For the frame, I shortened it by about 7 centimeters, and how I did that is right behind the servo hump. That's where I made the front cut, and I measured 7 centimeters back from that and then cut it again. And then I just sanded it even so they fit pretty nicely, and then JB welded the entire thing. I also there's a pin here a pin right in here that you can pull out, and you have to pull that out to cut it in half anyways, but that removes the door. And the door I was able to also cut and refit to the new chassis length, which is great because then I can just put the batteries in there. And the batteries that I'm using, this model came with an 1800 milliamp nickel metal hydride battery, which of course is now too long to fit in this chassis. But luckily we have LiPo batteries, and LiPo batteries have a greater power density. So this is 2000 milliamps, so actually 200 milliamp more than this big guy, and puts out 7.4 volts versus 7.2 volts, so a little bit more pep. And perfect size. Actually, if I really wanted to, I could probably fit 2, just run them in parallel, and then I could actually double the capacity of this. But currently I am also running a 1-cell LiPo, which I use for a lot of my drones, or my tiny drones. And this is powering the smoke machine and the stock electronics. I was a little worried that the stock electronics wouldn't be able to handle the 3.7 volts of the LiPo, but they seem to be okay so far. Hopefully they don't burn out. Later down the line, to run it off a singular battery pack, I'll get a voltage regulator that will kick it down to maybe 3 volts, and that way the electronics will be definitely fine. and yeah, and then I can just run it off a single power pack, and then I can actually run 2 of these. I threw this together in the Windows 3D modeling program. If you need the STL file, just PM me. I'll send it to you. I stuck these LEDs. They're basically just, got these off of Amazon as well. They're RC LED lights. They're all white. They come with 8 of them. They just plug into your receiver. As soon as they power on, as soon as you turn it on, and they work great. I mean, they're rated up to 7 volts, so the ESC has a range of 6 to 7 volts. So these are perfect. I run it off of 6 volts. These LEDs, it came with 8, so I used 3 in this side, 1 on this side, and the other 4 I actually placed on each corner of the trap, just to give it a little bit of downlight. Because when in the dark, this is actually the only source of light when the trap is closed is this and like this big bright light. So it just gives a little bit of allows you to see more of the car. The trap mechanism, the Walmart and Spirit Trap mechanism is actually, it works pretty well. And so I just used some servos, these little 4.3 gram servos. They nest really nicely up in this corner. And then I attached some control horns to the mechanism here. I think I have a video online that shows a little closer view of this, how this works. But just 2 of them, 1 on each side, and they're reliable. They work great. They're fully adjustable. So when the doors are shut, it's not activated, but when they pop open, then they're triggered. And there's a little switch, the switch that is actually back here when you do the push button. I moved it up here and added a little, shut that off. I added a little carbon strip right here on the switch. And so when the doors close, they push down and they shut the mechanism off. Alright, going into the cuts for the trap itself. I basically chopped off the entire bottom of the trap. And this is just, I actually cut into the interior compartment as well. This is just foam board that I covered with tape and used it as replace the platform after I kind of placed everything that I wanted and fitted it to the chassis. Electronics wise, there is this PWM switch, which is hooked up to the receiver, and there's a pass-through which the 1-cell LiPo is going through, and when you flip a switch, it basically sends power to the smoke machine. Right now, this is just sitting on the chassis. I don't have it hooked up in any way. I'm going to probably add some magnets here on the inside so that when I place it on, it just snaps into place and holds it like that. You'll need these extensions, basically for the larger wheels, just to get them away from the body, to get the right stance, and also as an adapter because these are for 1/8 scale cars. This is a 1/10 scale RC car, so to upsize the hex nut, you'll need the adapters, which we linked on in the forums as well. The car was actually sitting a little high for my liking, and I was worried that I'd have to cut the body more to lower it, but after a little closer inspection, they have these preload spacers pre-installed, and it had an extra one right here that I popped off. And as soon as I pulled off all 4 corners, it settled really nicely. And if I wanted to get even lower, I can even pop these guys off. But I think your ride quality would suffer a bit more if you did that. But I think it's at a pretty good height currently. It drives great with a 2-cell battery. It doesn't traction roll. It doesn't wheelie. It still kicks up a ton of dirt, which is awesome. It's really fun to drive, and it gets a lot of cool looks. So yeah, that just about does it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, just please message me. I love building. I love RC stuff, and I love Ghostbusters. So can't wait to see the movie. Take care, guys.